The James Harden era in Philadelphia begins, and yesterday, the bearded one walked to the podium in Philadelphia to give his first interview as a 76er. That's going to take some getting used to. So let's read some of the quotable ones from James Harden. He said, "It's a time where I needed to be around guys that I wanted to win and know that they are willing to do whatever it takes to win, and the structure is here and unbelievable. Winning a title is the goal. That's the goal. Like Daryl Morey said, the opportunity is to win now. Joel is playing the best he's ever played. So my job is to come out there and help him and help the entire team win a championship this year and in years going forward. 14 months ago, I didn't see myself with 3 different teams, but we are here today and I'm happy. The last year has been a lot of ups and downs, a lot of stress, but whatever. That's in the past. I'm excited, I'm healthy, and the opportunity of a lifetime. It's just the details." When asked about the Brooklyn Nets situation, he said, "I really don't want to get into it. I just knew for a very long time that this was a perfect fit. And obviously, you had a big man, the best big man in the league in Joel. Obviously, the coaching, just top to bottom, it makes sense. I'm happy and blessed that I'm here. As Doc Rivers and everybody knows and everybody wants, the goal is to win and be the last team standing. So I'm excited for the opportunity." I think the biggest thing to come out of this presser was this last quote that we'll put on the screen. James, when asked about joining Brooklyn after leaving Houston and now being in Philadelphia, the third team in about a year or so time, the bearded one said, "When I was going through everything I was going through in Houston, Philly was my first choice. It just didn't happen." Interesting one right there. So now we know a little bit more of the Beard psyche. He didn't want to go to Brooklyn. He settled in Brooklyn. He just wanted out of Houston so bad. But we now know his first choice was to be a 76er. And if you think about it, it makes sense. He gets reunited with the love of his life, Daryl Morey. He also is very cool with Michael Rubin, who we obviously know is one of the part owners of the 76ers. Michael Rubin is cool with Lil Baby and Meek Mill, and they can do the whole rapper private jet thing after the games. Joel Embiid is a guy that has the capabilities of knocking down clutch shots in the fourth quarter. One of the things I love about Philly is that they're a team. And if James is just better than Ben in the playoffs, which is a lot to ask because Harden ain't been that much better than Ben in the playoffs, if you actually really break it down, outside of that 1 year where the Oklahoma City Thunder went to the finals. Other than that, Harden has been pretty awful in the playoffs. But in theory, you think this would be a pretty decent 1-2 combo out east. Personally, I don't ever believe that this is going to lead to a championship, but you understand why James Harden wanted to be in Philadelphia. Also, the Brooklyn strip clubs ain't really hidden like that, so I've been told. Philadelphia is not the greatest. It ain't the South, but it's better than Brooklyn, so I've been told. So I understand exactly why Harden wanted to be a Philadelphia 76er. I do want to say this to James, though. If you don't win in Philadelphia, they are going to tear you up. See, Brooklyn, you kind of get a pass because the Nets don't really got a fan base. They came from New Jersey a few years ago. It's still about the Knicks, even though the Nets have been the better team. You know, it's still really about the Knicks. That's where that market dies on. In Philly, if you don't win, you'll hear about it for the remainder of your life. not just your career, not just your playing days in Philadelphia, your life. They still sometimes go at Charles Barkley for not getting it done in Philadelphia. He was one of the greatest players that franchise ever had. There's still critics of guys that didn't get it done through that Philadelphia regime. They are hard on theirs. Donovan McNabb, ask him. Philly's hard on the ones, even if they love them. They want to win more than they love you. So we'll see what happens. It is worth noting, not a lot of people are talking about this, but this was probably the biggest piece for Philadelphia in the trade that they made last week with the Nets surrounding Simmons and Harden. James has opted into his player option. So obviously the conversation was he going to be a free agent this summer? That's why Brooklyn had to trade him, because Harden was unhappy and you didn't want to lose James for nothing after you traded so much to get him, including Karis LeVert, who's in now Cleveland, looking pretty happy, and Jared Allen, who's also in Cleveland, looking pretty happy. He's an all-star. So you had to get something in return for Harden, who had pretty much let everybody know he was going to leave. And obviously, he was going to leave. You see now, he said Philly was his first choice. He was going to leave, and you were going to be left with nothing, or maybe you do a sign and trade. Who knows what would have happened? We now know he wanted to be in Philadelphia, and he got his wish. And he also opted into his player option. So Harden will not be a free agent this summer. He'll be able to get 2 playoff runs out of this trade with Philly, at least. And if it doesn't work out, then he'll probably run to another situation. I don't know if it's going to get too much better than Philadelphia for him. To me, to be real with you, I think these two are stuck with each other. We'll see now if Joel Embiid is happy long-term, but I do believe the James Harden era in Philadelphia is here to stay as the period one exercises his player option following his trade to Philadelphia. He said Philly was his first choice, not the Brooklyn Nets.